They say I'm the best there is. But I sure as shit don't feel that way. Not now. Now that I'm the hunted. Now that I'm the prey. Rock and splintered wood shrapnel my skin. Deep cuts, plasma burns. I'm a leaking bag of blood. That makes me slow and easy to track. When I come to the cliff, every nerve in my body is firing a red alert. Way down below is a river. But right behind me comes a watery ripple as his cloaking device powers down. Because this is the end of a long, long trail. One that has spanned time and distance. And in these final moments of the hunt, he wants to be seen. He wants us to face each other, to recognize each other as predator and prey. When he rips out my spine. At 40 below, it took as much time for water to freeze as it took for me to raid a beaver lodge. Never understood the point of those traps, because I was never good at the whole patience thing. I could fetch $1 per hide back then, which I suppose translates to about 100 a day. Never cared much about the money. Only took as much as I needed to survive. And this was the kind of work I preferred. Lonesome work. Woods work. Work that don't make you think too hard. And if killing was part of it, I was particularly good at that. The Northern Territory was a lawless frontier. You were on your own. That suited me fine. I never worried too much about the sub-zero winds or avalanches, the pissed-off moose, the charging grizzlies. It's people who concern me. People's why I use this cave as my safe. This was the edge of the map. And that's where folks go to escape trouble and make more. They always wanted something. Money, land, sex, power, and they'd kill to get it. Alaska might have 1,000 ways to kill you, but murder was at the top of the list. I'd rather stay away from that messy hunger. Not out of fear, but annoyance and exhaustion. Because anybody who came after me was going to end up dead. I could smell a storm coming, so I headed into the outpost called Scar, deep in native Athabascan country. It was mostly populated by loggers, trappers, and miners, and a few women inclined to follow them. I avoided it, except when I needed money or supplies. Or a drink.
Well, there he is now. He's the one you're looking for. You want someone crazy enough for the job you're talking about, especially with a blizzard on the way. What'll it be then?
You know what I want, man.
This one's on me. The next one, too. How about?
He's just gonna keep at it, so you know.
Well, if that's the case, then how about the bottle? We'll share it. But hold on now. I only want a moment of your time.
You'd be smart to stay clear of me,
And why is that?
because things are about to get ugly.
Assuming he makes it through the storm, trade representative should be here tomorrow. But this one already knows that. This one's got a big pile of somethings to sell.
Where do you keep all your treasures, little man? There's us that wants to know. Trouble always had a way of finding me. And at one point or another, I had broken the bones of just about every man in Scar. I don't know if they wanted to see if they could beat me, or if a part of them wanted to be punished. I tried not to pop the claws in those days. The last thing I wanted was more hateful attention.
See? I fucking told you.
You there! That was remarkable! Remarkable! You're exactly who I need. I'm desperate, you see. It's my son. He's been kidnapped. They're holding him for ransom. Please, I'm begging you.
Tucker said he was a prospector who had made it big. A crew of his rivals had kidnapped his son. He was supposed to meet them in Scar in a few days. Time for the exchange. But he had it on good authority they were held up in the old Groff hunting cabin 10 miles north. Rough country made rougher by the storm. But he insisted we carry on. Maybe that's one of the reasons they said yes. He wanted his son back desperately. I've always been, and I'll always be, kind of raw and messed up. When it comes to that old father and son thing.
Whoa! 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 Damn it, no! What spooked them? Do you see something? What's wrong? What's wrong?
It's a slaughterhouse in the woods, and the Athabascans were among the dead.
My God! It was them. I tell you, it was the men we're after. It must have been. They're killers. They're monsters.
The Athabascans were the only folks around here I actually liked. They taught me how to forage, and I thanked them with the occasional slab of venison or cut of salmon. They lived in harmony with nature, where everybody else seemed to come here to gobble up whatever they could, to cut a forest down the sawdust, to tear up the hills and rivers for gold, to kill, butcher.
Looks like the bad weather's on our side. They haven't posted a watch. Be swift, my friend, and show no mercy.
Never been good at controlling my temper, but back then, rage could blind me. The kidnapped son, the slaughtered Athabascans. My blood roared through me lava hot.
Where is he? Where's the boy? Well, I suppose they're all my boys, in a way. They were all scamps and orphans like you. I hired them to do jobs for me. Nothing like that nasty bit of business in the woods. That was some enterprising freelancer. But I did a commission on a railroad robbery from them. The pay car contained $20,000 in cash and bonds. But they decided they didn't need me. So I've decided I no longer needed them.
They're killers! They're monsters! They're killers! They're monsters!
Whatever you are, I'm gonna carve the ugly off of you. We were both cut deep, and we both had our own ways of healing. I was young, but I'd seen more than my share of blood and trouble. The thing, though, was on another level. I wasn't one to run from a fight. But I knew if I was going to win this one, I needed to move fast and think smart, or I'd be just another bloody ornament hung from a tree. Come on! Come and get it, you ugly fuck! Don't got many smiles in me, but I might have cracked one then. Because nothing will make you feel more alive than the taste of death. I thought that was the end. There was always some new danger waiting for me. So I soon turned my attention to it. It's easy to forget pain when your wounds heal like dried up creeks. What I didn't realize, not until many years later, was that this was just the beginning of what would turn out to be the longest hunt of both of our miserable lives. When you've lived as long and as hard as I have, memories get broken and scrambled. There are times I can remember as clear as a picture. And there are other times where I feel like I'm looking at myself through the wrong end of a telescope. And then there are other times that are gone altogether. Because of Professor Thornton. Thanks to him, after so many mind swipes, after so much training that honed my nerves to a razor's edge, I was less a mutant and more of an arsenal back then. As a member of Team X.
Am I smelling what you're smelling, Runt?
Blood.
It's giving me kind of an appetite, gotta say.
Our intel told us a guerrilla force was planning a coup. Former general was storing weapons and rallying support from a jungle stronghold. We were supposed to make sure he never came into power. Everything was sleepy and quiet at dawn. Once we took out the sentry, it would be easy pickings. Or so we thought. Something triggered deep inside my brain. A lost memory. A monster in the woods. Of a first and final hunt. I might have forgotten about the Yacha boy, but he hadn't forgotten about me. And this time, he brought reinforcements. Don't know how long I've been hanging from this cliff. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. Long enough for that healing factor to kick in. Blood comes up, nerves fuse, torn muscles seal. I needed a beat to recover, as more pain is waiting for me up there. Below is a fall of 200 feet or so. Above me somewhere is the hunter who comes from the stars. He's stubborn, coming at me all these years, but impatient too. We've gone head-to-head enough times that I'm gonna trust my instincts. He's moved on, looking for me elsewhere. Hopefully. Fuck off. I hear it then. The sound he makes. Like a spider clacking its mandibles together hungrily. The prey tangles in its web. Water's a weakness of mine. I'm already weighed down with adamantium. Make matters worse, I've got an avalanche of stone pinning me flat. My lungs fill with cold black water and my vision goes red. And for a moment, I lose track of where and when I am. Team X was a dirty crew that did dirty jobs. Assassinate a politician, blow up a dam, seize an oil platform, take out a cartel, all in the name of geopolitical subversion. We came here to stop a coup, but we found ourselves instead in the middle of a borderless war. We were already down 4 against their 5. What they were, I didn't know. Like everyone else on Team X, my memories were regularly deleted. But I'd carried this weapon with me over the years. It was like a scar, a relic of pain I understood the two of us somehow shared. You want this, don't you? Here you fucks go! Creed, Mav, Jackson, fall back! Fall back? How about fire away? This isn't going to be a firefight, Maverick. I said fall back, Sabretooth!
Fuck that.
Any other day, I'd run headfirst into whatever trouble came my way. But I needed a beat to dig in and think this one out. An invisible enemy. One you only know halfway and can't see altogether. Requires a different sort of strategy than the standard hack and blast operation Team X specialized in.
Well, are you dead, you fucks? Or are you hiding? Come closer for a look.
Creed's down, but he took one of them with him. What are they, Logan?
Don't know.
Your weapon, it was somehow in tune with that thing's gauntlet. How?
I don't fucking remember, okay? The memory's gone. Must have gotten deleted and scrambled like everything else in my stupid head.
Does it even matter? There's one more thing we gotta kill. Just her.
Jackson?
Where is she? Where the fuck did she?
Cut her head clean off. Oh shit. Move. Now.
Can't walk.
Missed your femoral artery by an inch. So you got it.
Lucky?
Hold on tight. And keep your finger on the trigger. We're going for cover. And digging in like an Alabama tick.
What are they, Logan?
Don't know. I don't fucking remember, okay?
Does it even matter? There's one more thing we gotta kill.
How you holding up, Matt?
Down. Hey, put me down. Looks like the soldiers were using this temple for storage. The general was ready to go to war?
See? I was. I am. I know why you're here. Then why didn't you shoot?
Because we are not enemies.
So long as those things are out there. They cut through my men like machetes through grass. I don't know what they are. I don't know why they're here. I only know there's a bigger threat than any of us have ever faced. We live or we die together. Comprende? Alright. But we do this my way.
It's been an hour. What do you think? You think maybe they left? You think maybe they won't?
When you've lived as long as I have, when you've fought for enough countries and causes, you realize good and evil are rare extremes. We're mostly all a blender of both. The general and I were both caught up in a war machine that never seemed to die. It just moved its bloody thresher, grinding gears from one part of the planet to another. Politics are muddy, but this situation was perfectly clear. These fucks didn't want money or power. They didn't acknowledge borders or laws. There would be no negotiation that one day led to peace. We were animals to them. That united us. In the pre-Columbian era, the Maya would engage in ritual sacrifice to nourish the old gods and goddesses. In that same spirit, we fed them blood that day. After setting up the trap, we slipped out a side entrance. Professor Thornton wanted a death receipt on the general, but I assured him everyone and everything was dead down there. Nothing could survive that.
Huh? Wonder what spook...
No!
What the hell is that thing? I don't know, but imagine if it was ours. Imagine what we could do with...
I'm trapped under 2 tons of rubble at the bottom of a river. And he thinks he's got me. But I know something he doesn't. Hunting is elemental. You study dirt, tracks, and spore. You stay downwind. You know what's growing or hatching or breeding. You know where to find water and shelter. It's not about the gear. You ever come across one of those trophy hunters who drop 20 grand to kill a grizzly or a lion with their laser sights and their multi-caliber sniper rifles? You know they really don't know what they're doing. The fancier the tech, the cockier you get. And the more detached you are from the musk and the blood beat of the thing you want dead. In the right hands, the same job could be done with a simple blade. Or 3. I don't remember much about my time with Weapon X. Flashes, like a short-circuiting TV plugged into my eyes. My body, my mind, did not belong to me. They had me zeroed out, filled me up with adamantium. Said I was nothing more than a blade sheathed in meat. I had no moral code. I had no intelligent thought. I only knew how to hurt. So the Yaljit found me at my most dangerous. And my most vulnerable. This hunt began for simple reasons. I was a challenging prey. Then things grew more complicated, as he was driven by pride and revenge. With that day in Weapon X lab, I think our story took on a whole other level of meaning. When he understood my skeleton was sleeved in adamantium, I became the ultimate trophy. What little I know of this time, I've learned by playing detective, patching together surveillance footage, recorded phone calls, mission reports. If the government is good at anything, it's stacking up reams of bureaucratic records. There are some things that are beyond their reach and reckoning. We were both in a bad way, but things were about to get much worse. Weapon X was a joint project of the US and Canadian governments. It might have been a shadow organization, but when you've got billions of dollars sucked into a project, when you're a war machine employed by the geopolitical theater, a breach of security is a global emergency. They didn't know who the Yaljit was, but he royally pissed them off.
Control, this is Schwartz. Bogey's not responding to our hails. We just gave him a wake-up call with a hard point. Please advise, over. Forge, this is Control. Keep those birds alert. Do not otherwise engage unless Bogey flies. We're scrambling ground crew. We believe there's an asset on board worth more than a fleet of F-16. I don't know what the hell kind of vessel this is, Control, but it's on the move. Permission to fire? I lost Weathers. Repeat, Weathers is down. Schwartz, this is Control. Please advise on its flight path so we can engage and intercept. Is it headed east? Northeast? Is this a Russian or Chinese operation? Up! What did you say? I said it's headed fucking up. As in headed for the fucking moon. Fire at will.
Rage. Berserker rage. That was my default emotion.
Target hit, but it's not enough. Turning back at 70,000 feet.
The mission report says the hull wasn't breached by a missile strike. So I can only assume I was to blame for it. The blast probably provoked me, like a stone striking a hornet's nest. I would have been ripped out of the ship. And into the void.
Control, the bogey is off radar and out of my sight. I believe it's left the atmosphere, but I've got eyes on something. What is it, Schwartz? Report. I can't say, except it came off the ship. I'll pass along the coordinates of the impact site. But whatever it is, there's not going to be much of it left.
Whatever weapons Professor Thornton built in this world, could not compare to the horrifying advancements of space. But brushing up against one weapon helped him improve on another. Spent a lot of time trying to figure out my broken history. My skin might be clean of injury, but my brain is a gummed up mess of scar tissue from mind wipes and memory plants. Sometimes I go back to places half remembered or forgotten entirely to try to shake loose some rust. That includes the ruins of Weapon X Lab, and a lead-lined vault, and a lead-lined container. I found this. I figured if I unshelled it, it would only be a matter of time. He would come, and this time, I would set the term of our engagement. We would end this hunt where it began, in the wild north, where the only law is that of tooth and claw. I've never known peace. But in Japan, I got right up to the edge of it. Maybe it sounds like a bunch of hippie nonsense, but I've never felt as much connection between my mind, my body, and the earth as when I studied under the madman swordsmith, Muramasa. Muramasa was known as the greatest swordsmith in the world. His method was based on constant refinement. The Japanese steel, tamahagane, is heated and purified and forged and coated and curved and polished. A process that demanded impossible patience. To him, I was ore. It might take years to remove all the impurities and burrs from a warped edge, but he believed it'd be worth it. He believed that one day I would become his strongest sword. But that day was a long way off.
You're good, Wolverine. But you're not the best there is. Not until you can beat this old man.
That's only because you won't let me use my claws.
When the day comes, you can best me with the sword alone. You will be able to fight 10 or 100 men and...
What's wrong?
You may have been my student for a long time, Logan-san. But today, we fight together.
I had changed, several times over, since the time we first met. And the Yaoja boy had adapted as well. I staked the helmet in a meadow like a bait station next to a deer stand. I waited a week. And then he came. He would never stop coming, until my head was his. Of course he knew it was an ambush. Was counting on that. I set up an obvious, rudimentary trap. Just enough to give him some sense of danger, and confidence in avoiding it. I needed to get hit. I needed my blood on the ground. Because once he got a taste of it, and once he got a hold of that helmet, he'd think he'd already won. I suppose I could have rigged the helmet, poisoned the air filter, nested it with a bomb. But over and over again, technology has been the Yaoja's failing. He surrounded himself with it. Just like he surrounded himself with trophies. Like a boast or compensation or some shit. To feel right about taking him down, I needed to prove that I was deadlier than the death he wore. A little help would be nice, Muramasa.
This is not my enemy. If I help you, it would be like a parent who does a child's chores or schoolwork when they whine. You will never learn.
Shit!
This thing has clearly been studying your claws, your fighting style, and the martial arts. I am detecting everything from Shurin Ryu to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Someone is going to die today. Let us see who is the better student. If you die, I'll forge your soul into a sword. And if this thing dies, it will make a worthy substitute. Either way, I'll be entertained. But remember, Logan-san, if you truly want to know you're the best, keep your claws and your anger sheathed.
Sometimes a smell in a cabinet or a song on the radio can bring back a lost memory. The sight of the bear skull helmet and those claws blew some of the dust out of my skull. I remember the hibernating grizzly. I remember luring the young Yaoja into that cave. That armor, that regalia of his, it's a statement. No different than the Comanches wearing war paint, or the Berserkers draping themselves in wolf pelts. He's been waiting all this time in the cold black cave of space. He's rising up now to pull me into his jaws and finish things as they began. Fuck this. We're doing things my way. Come on, let's go. Claw to claw. The fuck? You going to hide? Get back here. Don't run away from me.
Logan-san, that thing was not running away from you. He didn't come here to fight me any more than he came here to fight your enemies. I'm sure you two will meet again, assuming we survive the hand.
My enemies saved me in Japan, but it was my friends who trapped me in New York.
Wolverine. You missed dinner with the students again.
Sorry, Chuck. Gotta make my rounds.
I'm not exaggerating when I say they spent half the meal looking at your empty chair. Especially Kurt and Kitty.
They're better off with me out here.
Couldn't you take a night off from keeping us all safe?
I got a long trail of bodies behind me. Most are enemies. Some are friends. My skin don't scar, but my heart sure does. I try not to get too close to anybody. I try not to call any place home for long. Because death always finds me. I stupidly let myself believe Westchester was an exception.
Logan, what is happening?
We're under attack. Get the professor someplace safe.
Where are you going?
Those missiles hit the upper floors. That's where the kids will be. Head downstairs. Do not go outside. Anybody up here? Kitty! Kitty, you okay?
Logan? Look out!
No. Go away.
Excellent suggestion.
Damn it, Elf. Stay the fuck out of this. That goes for all of you. Keep away from me.
But Logan, you don't have to do this alone.
I don't want your help, Nightcrawler. This just proves what I always knew. I shouldn't be here.
Logan!
Rogue, that you?
Logan, what should I do?
Nothing. You should do nothing.
I can touch him. If I can take off my gloves and touch him, I can...
No. You've got me, okay? Just don't hurt her. Don't hurt anyone else. You've got me. I hadn't given up. But I had given up fighting him here. We could take this to the stars, as far away from these kids as possible. Hey, bub. You sure you got the right guy? I'm double the trouble. Danny, you shouldn't have... You shouldn't have come.
Guten Tag.
You're supposed to study your prey for weaknesses and vulnerabilities. A soft underbelly. A nest of eggs. The Yaoja had found mine. It was the friends and chosen family I had found among the X-Men. But they also turned out to be my strength. The Yaoja managed to cloak himself and scramble back to his ship. But I couldn't let something like that happen again. So I lured him back to a place where it would just be the two of us. The river is where I'd make my last stand. The good mud waited for us here. A dog can smell 100,000 times better than a human. Bees can see ultraviolet light. Birds can sense magnetic fields. I've observed the Yaoja long enough to know that he registers heat signatures. The mud was my primitive version of a cloaking device. I gave him a blind eye.
when I leaped down on him then. It was with the gravity of 100 years of war. I admired him as much as I hated him. I imagine the feeling was mutual. He cooked me with a few thousand volts. And whipped out what looked like a ceremonial dagger to finish the job. I let him make a sheath in. We would end this eye to eye, tasting the blood in each other's breath. For a fatal moment, we were one and the same. I thought that was the end. But he refused to die on my terms. I didn't recognize the numbers, but I knew a countdown when I saw one. He was going to get that trophy, even if he claimed it in his grave. But here's the thing about desire. Once you get what you want, you realize the wanting was the real pleasure. So in those final bloody seconds, when the hunt finally ended, I hope he felt a century of disappointment slam into his heart. Not sure how many days passed, but when I finally pulled myself out of that smoking crater, I felt like a lit cigar crushed out in an ashtray. There was an emptiness inside me. It took me a while to realize where it came from. I missed having him out there. Nothing makes you feel more alive than a gun pressed against your temple, or the cold lick of a knife at your neck. So I was gonna be a little deader every day I lived without him coming for me. At least he left me a dangerous trophy. I see my reflection in his blade. And I'll remember its keen edge every day of my damn life.
Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed this half as much as I did. I thought this series was absolutely fantastically written and very well put together. We will be starting X-Men series. We'll be telling a lot of the Jim Lee and Liefeld runs on X-Factor, X-Force, and X-Men. So keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and definitely leave me some comments. I like talking with you guys. Till the next one.